Kind of feels trippy. About 6 minutes ago, it was 8:54. Talking to Delco Steve. Actually, about the Shohei Ohtani press conference, which we'll get to coming up here in a second. But and I just not even a regular size cup of coffee, the travel size that you can make in the Ninja. I probably took 3-4 sips out of it. Boom. Right down on the bar, all over the place. And the worst part is I don't have any coffee to drink. What's up, everybody? Hope we had a great weekend. Get to some gambling stuff coming up in a minute. Really a lot to get to tonight. James Harden, still James Harden. Some Eagles notes from the owners' meetings. Just a programming note here. I will not be in town on Thursday and Friday. I am going away pre-Easter with the family. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. So there you go. Unless, listen, if Delco Steve wants to do a show on Thursday or Friday with, like just when I was on the radio, they don't not have the show when I don't work. Delco Steve is certainly, if he wants to, he can do a show. He can bring somebody on. He can do the show. He doesn't have to.
You just caught me so off guard.
Miss Delco Steve could also come on with him.
Yeah, she would love that.
All right, well, I'll let you think about it. I trust you that you would.
Right.
I trust that you would do a good job. All right, well, there's Delco Steve. Give me a second here. We'll bring Steve back on. So the Shohei Ohtani thing was the end of last week where it came out. It's like, wow, this has the possibility of being a huge story, and mostly. Maybe not mostly, but yeah, I'll say mostly because his interpreter that got fired by the Dodgers because there was a $4.5 million debt that was paid to an illegal bookie from Shohei Ohtani's account. It was wired to him. Ohtani's people, this wasn't him going rogue and going to ESPN and saying, I'm going to do this interview. Ohtani's people set him up with ESPN to do an interview. Why they would do that, I don't know. But he went on ESPN and he said, I made all the bets. It's all me. Ohtani is a good friend. He's mad at me, but he paid everything off. He wired $4.5 million to the, I'm sorry. But it was all me. And then the next day, it's like, oh, no. That wasn't, I did it all. I stole it. He didn't know anything about it. It was just weird how the initial story came out. Ohtani's people had their fingerprints on it. And now the very next day when they realized that, hey, if Ohtani paid this and he knew about it and he wired it, he could be in a shitload of trouble. So regardless, they're denying it. The authorities are now looking into it. Ohtani finally had his press conference today, which was I don't know. Anybody else see it out there? It was weird, man. It was weird. Normally, when they have an interpreter or a translator is doing the press conference, the person will talk for like 15 seconds, and then the translator will say exactly what he said, and then Ohtani will talk again, and then the translator says exactly what he says. This was not that. I don't know who the hell they hired. They couldn't find somebody that speaks Japanese in Los Angeles. Has this guy never done this before? It was the oddest thing I've ever seen. It certainly wasn't what I expected. And not that I don't believe Ohtani, because he didn't come off as being somebody that did something wrong during the press conference. But the whole thing was bizarre. Where did they get this translator from? A Cracker Jack box? Jesus Christ, what the hell was this? Delco Steve, do we have a little bit of this? All right, so here's Shohei Ohtani and whoever the new translator is. This is earlier today, 5:45 Eastern time, speaking to the press. Here's Ohtani and the translator.
何かにかけたりとか、誰かに代わって、そのスポーツイベントにかけたりとか、それをまた頼んだり、っていうことはないですし、僕の口座からブックメーカーに対して、誰かに送金を依頼したことももちろん全く、ありません。
So I never bet on baseball or any other sports, or never have asked somebody to do it on my behalf. And I have never went through a bookmaker to bet on sports.
本当に
That
数
one,
日
that
前
one
ま
was
で、
pretty concise.
彼が、そういうことをしていたっていうのも、全く知りませんでした。
Up until a couple days ago, I didn't know that this was happening.
なおかつ、
Yeah, so I mean, so that one right there is actually, it sounded like a real translator. But I mean, I don't know, Steve, you saw it. We were talking about this last week. God, it took baseball 2 days to actually formally come out and make a comment about it. Dummies in Major League Baseball. But what did you think of the press conference, and how do you feel right now after the weekend regarding it?
It's odd. I actually saw something like about him in a basketball game looking like he was sweating a bit. I'm trying to find a picture of it now. But it doesn't make sense to me. It's just, oh, he lied. But then why is the original story that he covered him? It just seems, if the first thing that came out was, oh, he stole the money, fine, I'd believe this. But now that it's that you have that story, and now it's, oh, he stole the money from me, he sent the money without my knowledge. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. And then when we were talking about the 6-minute clip that I have here, it's too long. It's just Ohtani going on and on and on and on, and then the interpreter just goes, he lied. Or he's saying that he lied. It's like, what do you mean? Like, he just talked for 45 seconds to a minute, and then you gave me a 3-second response.
Right.
I don't know.
Sean asked what bookie would take that action if he owes that much. Well, he got paid. No, he's getting indicted, the bookie, but he got paid. Somebody that's associated with Ohtani, obviously. I just can't believe they paid him the $4.5 million. Honestly, bro, I don't know what to believe. Obviously the thing that sticks out is, why would Ohtani's PR people, his camp, why would they let him speak to ESPN or put him out there for ESPN? It must have been because they thought him going out and doing something would get ahead of the story. But I mean, you put him out there, the story goes out there. They're not immediately being like, no, that was BS. He made that up. No, it's not until the story comes out that all of a sudden it's like, well, no, now he's a liar and he stole all this money. So, I mean, I don't know. Ohtani, and I'm just basing it off of, he's not even speaking English. So I'm just watching what I'm watching on the press conference. So but he didn't seem like he was up there.
This is the picture from him at college basketball last year in March Madness. It's
He had the under.
And then I don't know. He looks like he's sweating a little bit. Looks like he's sweating.
So this part of it, where it's like, why would he have that access, and how would this happen without Ohtani knowing? I actually can see it happening. This is a guy that has so much money, and this just wasn't his translator. This was one of his closest people. He was his personal assistant. He was his interpreter, translator. He ran errands for him. He was really like his I don't want to say business manager, but he was really like his manager. He did everything for him, and he was making between $300,000 and $500,000. So you know what, Delco Steve? I'd be doing the same damn thing. I mean,
you're making a ton of money as it is. Why can't you just bet within your means?
Bro, that's not the way gambling works. But it's like shaking a money tree.
That's how I gamble. Gamble.
But you're not a maniac. This guy's a maniac.
That's true.
Obviously. Yeah, you gamble that way. I have a friend. I'm not even going to mention where he lives now to protect him. He's bet $10,000 a game on NBA games. It's like, bro, what are you doing?
I wish I could bet like that.
Maniac. So I can honestly see where this guy, it's not ridiculous that he would have access to his banking stuff. If he does everything for him, think about it. Right? I've worked with a lot of professional athletes, and I'm not talking about Ike, because Ike is actually the one that's not like the professional athletes. But the guys that I've worked with, and not even star athletes, but guys that, like, I'll say, like, you know, Glenn Foley is. I worked with Glenn. It was one of my first jobs in radio. He was on 950 AM. And Glenn's a great guy. And I love Glenn. And I thought he was very entertaining. But Glenn was also like, he couldn't log into his email. You know, like you
Right.
had to do everything for him. He literally couldn't do anything. And what I
Like when
learned
the
was
boss can't open a PDF.
right. And so it's not even just technology. A lot of these guys, because everybody just does everything for him because it's always been, hey, don't worry about that. We got it for you. So is it really that far-fetched to think that Ohtani, he doesn't want to deal with any of this crap? He doesn't know. You think he knows his banking information or his passcodes or shit like that? No, he's got a guy from Japan that he trusts with his life. You know, like, and that's not crazy to think. There's people in my life. Now, I'm not telling you that I wouldn't look at my banking stuff or whatever, but there's a couple people in my life I would trust unconditionally with anything. And it feels like this guy was that guy to Ohtani.
Yeah. So my thing, I agree that there's definitely people you have that you trust with anything. But for that, if he's like, I don't know what his obviously business operations and the people that he has working for him, but if he is the guy that manages all of that, then that's one thing. But if he's got a guy that is his business guy and he's the interpreter and that's all his role is interpreter, he shouldn't have that stuff. But if he's the all around guy, then yeah, it makes sense that he has it.
All right,
John J. Go
ahead, finish.
Well, I was saying at the same time, it's like if he's the guy that's doing his like day to day, he's got access to like a credit card or
everything.
So why wouldn't you just use the card that sort of thing? Like the guy for the Jaguars. Did you hear that whole story with that guy?
Oh yeah, sure.
It's like do something like that instead of, but like you do that, it just never comes out. The only reason this comes out is because you paid a $4.5 million.
Because let me take you into the mind of a degenerate gambler. He's working on credit. You can't work on credit on a book, a real book. You can only do it with a bookie. That's the only reason that any bookies are in business anymore is because they work on credit. So he might be down $1 million, but he says, I'm gonna make that back. And if the guy's not making him pay, then he's not going to use existing money. He's going to keep trying to use the credit to get back. And maybe like he won a $500,000 in a weekend. And then he loses $2 million next week. But anyway, like it's just, so I'm saying like that part isn't far-fetched. The only thing that bothers me is why did Ohtani's camp send him to ESPN to do an interview where he admits, or he says that Ohtani's taking off for him? It's crazy. So John Jason says, why does it feel like everybody wants him to be guilty? Well, I mean, I even kind of, not that I want him to be guilty, but it's a much better story if he did it. It's a huge story. So like, yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, John. Like, yeah, it'd be like, I would always be like happy if it happened because it's like, wow, like what a story to talk about. You have to understand, even though like, I'm not on the radio anymore. It's still like when you have 4 hours to burn a day, a story like this is a couple days of work. You know, a day or two of work, even if it's not a full show, it still gives you something to talk about. It's an interesting topic. But I mean, I don't know. Right now, I would say that it doesn't seem like that he has any involvement in it, which I'm actually happy because he is such a good player. He is really a reason to go out to the yard to see him play. Forget about the pitching this year. I haven't seen many people hit a ball that hard. The sound that he generates off of a bat when he connects that's like Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds type sound, man. He's
electric.
He really is. Yeah, and Adam's got a good point too. Everything about him was phony. He never worked for the Red Sox. That was in his resume. He didn't like his whole resume was bogus. He's like that.
Why does he have a resume if he's Shohei's best friend? Why do I?
Shohei knows him because he was a translator for a Japanese team. So he used to translate to English speaking.
So they're not like childhood friends or something like that.
No, because he's older. He's older than Shohei. So he worked for one of the teams. I think he worked for Shohei's team, and he used to translate for the Americans. So wouldn't it make perfect sense? I'm going to America. There's this guy that I've worked with for a couple of years. It's been like a big brother to me. I'm bringing him to America. He speaks English. He already knows all of this stuff. And then boom, he's involved in this mess. But anyway, so there's that. And there's also this. This is really juicy. We talked about the Temple stuff a couple of weeks ago, and that nothing's happened with that, which also is a good thing. The last thing I want to hear is there's Temple players or somebody involved in doing anything like that. But this is pretty interesting. And excuse me, you wonder. So the NBA is investigating Jontay Porter of the Raptors. And I can't tell you that I've ever heard of Jontay Porter before. He's Michael Porter Jr.'s brother.
First time I heard about him was today.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I look at box scores and things like that a lot. I'm not watching a lot of the late games on TNT, but I like to look at the NBA box scores in the morning.
And I'm definitely not looking at the box score of the guy who played 6 minutes a game or something.
Right. And Jontay Porter, like I can't tell you that I really knew who he was. But anyway, so he's under investigation following multiple instances of betting irregularities over the past couple months. So 2 games in particular, January 26th and March 20th. So the game of the 26th against the Clippers, there was increased betting interest on the under for Porter's props. They were set at the night for over under 5.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. And there was an over under for 3-pointers made, which was 0.5. So if he makes one, it goes over. So that night, Porter played just 4 minutes before he left the game because of what the Raptors said was a re-aggravation of an eye injury that he had suffered 4 days earlier. He didn't score. He had 3 rebounds and assists and didn't attempt the 3. So everything went under. The next day, DraftKings reported that the under on Porter's 3-pointers was the biggest money winner for the bettors of any NBA player prop for the game that evening. So you get this guy that normally plays a handful of minutes, and the biggest bet of any NBA prop bet was under 3-pointers for Porter. Under 3-pointers made for Porter. Right? So that alone, obviously, they're like, what the hell is that? So it doesn't happen a lot, but it happens again. All right?
The January game, there were bets of 10,000 and 20,000 on the unders. And typically the limits are set at like 1,000, 2,000 for average bettors.
So if you think about it, what's one thing and I think that this is where I think we're being naive if this doesn't happen or hasn't happened already, that he can control it without it looking. It's one thing if you're throwing the ball into the stands or you're throwing a game or, you know what I mean? It's another thing if you just don't shoot a 3. You don't go behind the line. You don't get open enough to where you have an open shot or you pass up the shot.
Yeah, or pump, like guy's closing out on me. I didn't want to get blocked. I didn't want to take a bad shot.
Or you say, my eye's hurting me again, and he's out after 4 minutes. And you don't shoot a 3.
And it's crazy because that's kind of like how they worked it out, because you have to play in the game to make those unders even get validated.
Right.
It's like, otherwise, if he's like, oh yeah, I'm good, and then they don't play him, so the bets are just void.
The March 20th game against the Kings, he played just 3 minutes. He left the game. The Raptors said he was ill and he didn't return. He didn't score. He attempted to miss 1 shot and he had 2 rebounds. His over-unders were 7.5 points and 5.5 rebounds. The next day, DraftKings reported to its users that Porter's prop bets were the number 1 moneymaker from the night in the NBA, from the entire night in the NBA. So again, I'm not feeling well. What coach is going to say? Like you say, maybe you don't even mention you're not feeling well before the game, and then you go to the game, you play a couple of minutes, like, Coach, man, I'm really not feeling well. I feel like I'm going to throw
I gotta
up.
take a crap.
Right? Yeah, like my stomach's really like whatever, and then you don't go back in under. At least one other U.S. sportsbook detected unusual betting interest on the Porter props in the games in question. A sportsbook industry source told ESPN that multiple betting accounts attempted to bet large amounts, upwards of 10 and 20 grand, on Porter unders in the January game against the Clippers. So this isn't DraftKings. This is what happens. All the books are working together. There's companies that try to detect this kind of stuff, and that's all it takes. It happened one time, and they're like, something's fucked up. And then it happened again, and that's where it's like, no, something's up. See, this is crazy. This is crazy. So, again, we're being naive if we're thinking this doesn't happen or this hasn't happened. It's just a matter of how greedy do you get? Because doing it for $1,000 or $2,000, is that even worth it? Doing it for 20 grand in these guys' minds.
So he makes $415,000 on a two-way contract.
It's a two-way contract, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's not like he's not making great money, but he's not it's one thing if a player's making 10 million, 5 million, 15, 30, whatever. It's also, he's a guy that is, when it's a two-way contract, he's a G leaguer. That's also he could very easily be in the G League. So,
the thing is for him, it's like 5.5 rebounds for someone that's only playing 14 minutes a night is a hard number to hit. So
Yep.
he could just tell his boys to bet the over every night, and if he knows he has 5 rebounds, just all right, I'm not hustling anymore.
Right.
He probably could have got away with that.
Seven.
He probably could have got away with that for a long time.
But betting $10,000 and $20,000 on unders for him like that, and then he leaves with an eye. He leaves with the eye injury, or he leaves with the.
That's what I'm saying. He could have just not left with the eye injury and just been like, "Hey, I'm not going to do the 3 thing, but do the rebounds. If I get 5, I'm just going to stop hustling for rebounds."
No, of course, but it's the perfect out. They knew that his eye was injured. They're not going to question if he says like, "Yo, man, I still got I'm blurry. I got hit in the eye again, or whatever." So, man, listen, it is this is something we're going to hear more about. Hopefully, if there are players that are thinking about doing this, is going to be a cautionary tale of, hey, you're going to get nabbed. You're going to get caught for doing this. So, man, it's screwed up. It really is. But again, we shouldn't be surprised. He missed Saturday's game for personal reasons, according to the team.
I can only imagine why.
And he's out for tonight's game.
Can only imagine. I'm just mad that I don't know about these things. Just like, come on, just tell me that it's going to be going on and let me bet on it.
Because that's when because we think about, like, when you think about point shaving, you think about like blowing a game, like throwing the ball in the stands, missing a shot on purpose so you don't cover the spread or whatever. These prop bets are very easy to manipulate. Look how easy Tim Donaghy was able to manipulate these games. Easy. He got greedy because he's a friggin' maniac. He's from Delco. I mean, what else would you expect?
My rival high school, Carter O'Hara, shout out to them for that.
So my in-laws live very close to O'Hara. So I drove past it.
Yep.
A lot of people asking, yeah, right there on Sproul Road. A lot of people asking how the event went.
Went great.
On Saturday. Thank you, Michael Richmond.
Thank God it wasn't Saturday.
Yeah, it was Sunday. That's right.
Saturday would have been brutal.
Because it was a beautiful day. It was yesterday, man. Today, that's how long of a day it was today, man.
I was hurting today for sure.
And it was it went, and I got there. The kids' fun run was at 1:15, and I missed the left to turn in to the school. So then we had to go all the way down, and I was thinking I'd be able to like just kind of work around, but there's tracks that are up against the other side.
Tracks. Yep.
Yeah, so I gotta go all the way back around. It took like 15 minutes to circle back around and then get back in, but we made it for the kids' fun run, which was excellent. And then we went down to the starting line, and me and the kids and the wife watched the starting line, and then boom, it was I know you were talking about how much money you raised and everything else, and it was a big event. This is an unbelievable event that you guys do. So, hats off to you and everybody that was involved. It was awesome. It really was.
Yeah, it ended up being a very nice day. I was worried in the morning. It was cold in the morning when I got up there at like 10. It was like 30-mile-an-hour winds and 35 degrees. I'm like, this is going to suck. And then as the day went on, it got better and better and better. By the time race time came around, it was like high 40s, nice and sunny. Wind died out. It was a great day. Great turnout. Great.
Your dad told me that it's always a little bit more windy.
That's like the highest point in Delaware County up there.
Yeah.
So it's always got a good amount of wind up there. It could be no wind at my house. I drive 2 miles down the road and there's 20-mile wind like out of nowhere.
Well, it was awesome. I was hoping you were gonna fix the basket because we had some raffle tickets for the basket. My daughter said, ask Steve tonight if we won, and I'm like, I think they would have called us already, honey, if we won.
Yeah, my buddy actually cleaned up. He got 3 baskets. I'm like, come on, dude. And of course, he didn't win the one I want him to win to take me to the Flyers game with him. But what can you do?
Well, there you go. It was awesome. You'll have to give us when you have a final total on what was raised, but it was awesome. It really was. Congratulations on a great day, man.
Appreciate it, my man. It was a very good day. Had a great time. Got to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a while. Met some new people. It was a great time.
And I didn't know Kevin Key, who I've known for a long time. Who he's the track coach.
Yes, he is. They won the championship last year for the girls, I believe. At
Bonner, he's been man. I've known him for a long time because he was like a caller. I got to know him as a caller. He was calling me like way back in the AM days, and so he was there because like.
His dad was the DJ too.
Was his dad really the DJ? I didn't know that.
His dad was the DJ. Yep.
He did tell me that because I saw his mom was helping out. But Delco is such a tight-knit community. Half the Upper Darby Police Department was there. I mean, it was like it's such a tight-knit community. That's what I love about Delaware County, and it was on full display. So again, thanks to everybody that was out there. It was great. It was a lot of fun. All right, so well, let's do some Eagle stuff, and then we'll talk about James Harden. So do we pour one out now for? Is that what I just dumped my whole cup of coffee for Quez Watkins leaving the Eagles? And
I celebrated that earlier when I saw him on the Steelers. I was like, yes, God.
Well,
So
I didn't celebrate it, but I think it was time for everybody to move on. But I remember not last year, but the year before, whatever year they traded for AJ Brown. So yeah, it's before 2 seasons ago.
2 years ago. 2 seasons ago.
And the word that was being put out, and because Elliott kept saying it, and Elliott's like, he's like, Quez Watkins is fine as your number 2 receiver. The Eagles are very comfortable with Quez Watkins as the number 2 receiver, which is code for that's what they're telling Elliott to say. And he's rolling with the company line right now. And I was pissed because Quez Watkins is not good enough to be a number 2 receiver on any good team. Like maybe he can develop into a good player, but I wasn't buying it. Certainly not as a number 2 receiver. Right?
He's not number 2 on any team. Period.
He's not number 3. He's not number 3 on any team either, by the way. But so and I remember I went on the air. Tyreek Hill was traded to the Dolphins. And a lot of you Eagles fans you are so soft and you don't even know it. But Tyreek Hill was traded to the Dolphins before we went on the air. And I was legitimately furious that the Dolphins traded a second. What did they trade? A second and something else, and they gave him a new contract. I know Tyreek Hill's like a POS, right? But
Tyreek Hill was a bigger deal, was a bigger trade than Devontae Adams was. Devontae Adams was like the weird low ball trade, and then a couple days later,
they gave up a first round draft pick for him, didn't they?
The Raiders, no,
yeah,
or the Dolphins gave up first round picks for Tyreek Hill.
I think it was a second. Remember, well, whatever it was between the Jets. It was between the Jets and the Dolphins, and I think they took the Dolphins over the Jets. But anyway, it wasn't like
the trade for Tyreek was a 20. So in 2022, it was 29, 50, a 4th round pick that year, plus a 4th round pick and a 6th round pick the next year.
So they gave up pretty big capital to get him. Well, I was pissed because he's the biggest weapon in the game. And there's no arguing that. You may say that there's a better wide receiver or there's not a better weapon in football than Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey. So, well, I'll say those two. I'll take them over anybody, right? And like Eagles fans were like, oh, you got to be realistic. The Eagles aren't trading for Tyreek Hill. That's stupid, Mark. It's like you're faking that you're mad. And I'm like, Tyreek Hill is available for a trade and you didn't go out and get him? Now they got AJ Brown. And they made it okay. But they showed you that it wasn't stupid to go out and get Tyreek Hill because they traded a freaking first-round draft pick to get A.J. Brown and gave him a brand-new contract. So anyway, it was that offseason. And
Devontae was 22 and 53 in the same draft.
So it was the first and the second. Right. Yeah. And like I think Devontae Adams is like fine, but I wanted Tyreek Hill and I love the A.J. Brown trade. Absolutely.
That was a first and a third. So out of the 3 trades, what do you want to do?
Right. So and the Eagles did the right thing, but going back to Quez, I never bought that he was no, Quez is going to be fine. No, he's not. So he's gone. He's gone to the Steelers, and now it's a matter of are they going to look in the draft for a young receiver to kind of develop? Because I'm not and I'll say this, Devontae Parker. For everybody that's going to look at that one good game he had against the Eagles, or maybe the one season he had against the Dolphins. I don't know if I'm all that comfortable with him being the 3rd wide receiver. You gotta get somebody else in here. It's a little bit shiftier or more of a traditional slot receiver. I mean, I don't know. People are gonna say, well, Goddard's that guy or whatever. Like, how about Goddard? How about they do something to the offense for Goddard? You're paying him like he's supposed to be a Pro Bowl tight end, and he doesn't stay healthy on top of it. I need more production out of Goddard. So anyway, but
Devontae Parker's stats aren't anything to write home about. He had the 1 year with the Dolphins with 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. And
he's better than Quez Watkins. Paris Campbell in the slot. You're right, Mike Deek, because remember Jeffrey Lurie wanted to draft Paris Campbell over J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. That was the Arcega-Whiteside draft.
Well, they're both terrible.
And Jeff Lurie, like Paris Campbell. And who was the Jeremy Chin was the other player that was there right there on the board.
Or you could have just drafted DK Metcalf.
Yeah, exactly. They pass on wide receivers all the time. Yeah, it seems like Paris Campbell hasn't done anything in the league though, Mike. So
he's been hurt a ton.
Yeah. Well, the one thing they've done very well is they have a couple of lottery tickets that if it ends up paying off, then they don't have to worry about it. But Kevin Curtis not available, Vince. Not available. I believe he's retired. So, all right. So then you have that. I wanted to read a couple of notes. I was talking about Elliott earlier, so he put a couple notes from he's down in Orlando. So the owners' meetings, they have the GM meetings in Phoenix, I think, and the owners' meetings are in Orlando. So the subject of Hassan Reddick comes up. He says, I still think Hassan Reddick will be traded. Might not happen soon, as the Eagles have shown they will wait it out for value. And he says Wentz, Bradford, Ertz. And with training camp far away, I don't think they feel pressure. Could very well be after the draft, but would be very surprised if he played for the Eagles next season. Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't know if he's getting – because a lot of times what they do is they get some off-the-record time where there's no microphones or anything like that, and Howie's pretty gracious with giving them information. So I don't know if it's from that. It's probably just Elliott. Much as people want to shit on Elliott for the hot takes or whatever, he actually has a really good idea what's going on. And they have the deadline, the beginning of April, to where if he's on the team, they have to give him the roster bonus of $1 million. I mean, they can cut him or trade him before that, and they don't have to pay it. So they'll pay the $1 million, and they hold on to him. And then they kind of say, hey, anybody that's interested, we have this all-pro player that gets double-digit sacks every year, and teams that may not get somebody in the draft or may look at their team and say, you know what, we need another edge rusher. Hassan Reddick could be that guy. So if they're willing to pay the $1 million, which they have in the past, then Hassan Reddick could be here, and they'll just look to trade him. Or they can keep him.
Jeffrey Lurie has proven he doesn't mind paying out those kind of deals to better the team.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's why I love him as an owner. I give him all the credit in the world for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I would lose my mind with like a Chargers owner, like that wouldn't do that kind of stuff.
Oh, you have to give this to the Phillies and the Eagles. These guys want to win, and they're willing to spend big bucks to do it. Joshua Harris is spending a lot of money, but I don't
winning.
Feel like giving him credit. He's not winning anything. But
he's going to spend so much money in Washington. It's not even funny, and he's not going to win crap because he's already being the meddlesome owner.
Well, I mean, we actually have something on that, don't we?
Yep.
All right, well, you might as well play it right now. Hold on 1 second. So ESP is a pawn for the Eagles organization. Nah, I don't. No, Elliott's a takesman. He cares less about the Eagles organization being a pawn. I would disagree. He likes his takes. All right, so who is this that actually said this? Did you remember? I know I sent it to you.
It's the NFL Network.
All right, so this is NFL Network.
So I think they're the owners' meetings, doing their general roundup kind of stuff. I think.
So it's I'm not even gonna say widely assumed. Caleb Williams is going number 1. It's a matter of where it falls after that. So is it Daniels goes 2, or is it Drake May going 3? Not so fast, my friend. Maybe there's going to be another quarterback that goes number 2. Here's the NFL Network.
Because everybody's always trying to figure out, especially at the top of the draft, what the other teams are doing. When I've had conversations here with executives for other teams who know Adam Peters well, know the situation well, the most popular answer for what they do at number 2 is J.J. McCarthy. So a lot of drama still to come.
Just like Mac Jones the last time Adam Peters had this situation.
All right. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, because that was like the thing with last year with like David Tapper with Carolina. Everyone in the organization apparently wanted C.J. Stroud. Him and his wife wanted Bryce Young. Yep. So they got what they wanted. They traded up and they got Bryce Young.
Well, so I had heard this from a number of people, even at the end of the college football season. Because my one guy I know that works in the media in Detroit, I had said to him, I'm like, why don't they let him throw? If you watch some Michigan games, like he really, he threw at a high percentage, but it's almost like they were trying to hide him. And he said, that's just hardball. That's the way he thinks they're going to win. He's still very young, and you watch. He's going to go to these pro days, and he's going to meet with teams, and they're going to fall in love with him because he's got as much raw talent as any of these other quarterbacks. And he's like a really good kid, and he's mature. He's going to go a lot higher than anybody realizes. And like what you started to see was, oh, well, he may go 4 to Minnesota. He may go 4 to a team that trades up. Now they're talking about him going 2 to Washington. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he goes 2. That would be awesome if he jumped everybody.
It's actually like, I feel like that's like a terrible take that he wasn't really used, because I just pulled up Caleb Williams stats to compare to him. They're like 700 yards apart. You know?
Yeah, but like Tim and I watched some Michigan games, but he didn't throw once in the second half.
Yeah, against the PSU game, because their offensive line just dominated. They didn't need to.
He didn't need to.
They didn't need to throw the ball.
Right, but like Harbaugh's a good enough coach to do that. Most coaches
and that wasn't
care.
Harbaugh also wasn't even coaching that game. That was the game with the offensive coordinator calling the game, and Harbaugh was suspended.
Well, Harbaugh was I'm sure in his earpiece doing it.
Well,
he was cheating.
If you want to go to down that rabbit hole.
But I mean, to your point, so let's see. So like, okay, so just attempts, right?
Yep.
National championship game, 18. Ohio State, 20 attempts. Maryland, 23 attempts. 8 attempts, Penn State. 16 attempts, Nebraska. 13 attempts. I don't even know who this team is. But like, so he had 37 attempts against Purdue, but then he had 23 attempts against Maryland, 30 attempts against Iowa. I guess the point is that.
Well, so my only argument with that was Caleb Williams had 50 more attempts than JJ McCarthy, and USC ran the speed offense like kind
how
of.
How many games though?
Let me see.
Let's see. They have to look because JJ McCarthy played in the national championship game, and he played in the semis, and he didn't even play in the bowl game. Caleb Williams, he wouldn't play in the bowl game. They probably played 3 more games than him.
So he played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So yeah, he probably played 2. McCarthy played 2 more games.
3.
They played 15 games.
They played 3 more games. Yeah. So regardless,
I'm just saying, like that offense is just they're running 70 plays a game, and it's still.
Yep.
And they're throwing it all the time.
Well, McCarthy could be number 2, and I wouldn't be.
My best case scenario for just division wise, Washington pays a crap ton to go up to 1, gets Caleb Williams, and he sucks. I would love every second of that. I don't think Chicago's giving him up. That's what I'm saying. I want Washington to do the bonehead thing and just way overpay.
Screw themselves. Oh.
Like where Chicago just has to take it to the 4 first-round picks kind of thing.
That'd be awesome. All right, a couple more Eagles.
So great.
A couple more Eagles things, and then we'll we got to get Harden before we get out of here. Where are you, ESP? Okay, here it is. Secondly, he says, I think they're expecting Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to be a big part of setting the attitude on defense, something they feel they missed last season. Devin White as well. All right. And did you see the cap numbers on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson?
I did not. What were they?
It's like a couple $1 million this year. Pretty much they can cut him after this year, and there's like no. I guess there wasn't a big market out there for him.
Oh, he's also coming off that pec injury,
No, agreed. Cap hits this year, $2.6 million. 2025, $4 million. 2026, $5 million. $10 million guaranteed. Void years, very little dead money if they cut him after 2024. Awesome.
Great. Let him stay on the team for 3 years for all those numbers. They all sound great to me.
More Elliott. I think
he'll be bitching, but I'll love it anyway.
I think fans should view Zach Baun. Remember Zach Baun, not Zach Braun.
Yep.
Where was he? Saints? Zach Baun,
Saints.
where was he?
Saints.
More of an edge rusher than a standard linebacker. Similar role as one Dolphin last year, Andrew Van Ginkel.
He had a great. He made himself some money this year.
He sure did.
And he was like he's kind of like the similar type player. He was a secondary player, and he got a shot to play because they had all those injuries, and he took advantage. So maybe Baun is that guy.
They're going to say to him, "Don't worry about coverage. When we put you in, get to the freaking quarterback."
Yep,
that's awesome. All right, last one. The corner situation is an interesting one. I could see in training camp it being Slay as CB1 and Bradbury, Ringo, et cetera, competing for CB2. I expected Isaiah Rodgers to compete on the outside, at least initially. If there's a locked-in CB2 entering camp next to Slay, I think it comes from another team. Could be a draft pick, too.
What did you think of the Darius Sneed trade that happened over the weekend? The Titans. 3rd round pick.
They got something for him. They were happy to get no, because you can't afford to pay everybody. Not like that. No, they can't. They need to draft and develop a freaking corner. Like, come on. All right.
I'll believe it when they say it. I'll believe it when they say it.
I think the O-line to start camp will be Mailata, Dickerson, Jurgens, Steen, Lane, Matt Hennessy is the safety net. My guess right now, offensive line at number 22. The more I read into this draft and look at all the mock drafts, I would right now I would bet an offensive lineman at 22.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad take there for sure. That's, we already talked about this. That's the kind of position group they're looking for. And now that you had Kelsey retires, it's going to be an over-exaggeration. That's a hole we need to fill, hole we need to replace. It's but you've been doing this for years. Dickerson was supposed to be Kelsey's replacement, and then he was so good at guard, they stayed.
He's too damn big to be a center. I never believe. But to your point, and then you get Jurgens, and then he's going to be center. Yeah, normally they have more depth on the offensive line. The problem was these guys, the guys that they had before, and I still haven't seen how much Driscoll's making, because I like Driscoll a little bit. But
he was a great fill. Well, he got shredded in that one game where he came in for Lane at right tackle.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's still a good. He was still a good fill-in player because he could play just about every position on the offensive line, and that's what you're really looking for when you have versatile players like that.
I thought he was fine. I don't know. I haven't seen terms on it, but anyway. Yeah, they need a couple of players here on the offensive line. So I don't know. All right, so that's some Eagles stuff right now. All right, so James Harden. So the Sixers were in Los Angeles. They beat the Clippers last night. Clippers are still a top 4 team, I think, in the West, but they've been scuffling a little bit as of late. But Sixers, they gave it to him early and they gave it to him late. Maxey had a great game. James Harden did not have a great game. He ends up leaving pretty much even before Tyronn Lue, the head coach, spoke to the media. He already left. So he was long gone by the time the media came in. I don't know if he was mad because the Sixers blanked him, probably, or there's some internal stuff going on. I want to say last week or the week before, Paul George talked about they'd gone 1-4 in 5 games, and Paul George had talked about how the team doesn't have an identity. And they still had a good record, right? But for whatever reason, guys aren't happy, and Paul George said the team doesn't have an identity. All right. So what is he talking about? Who is he talking about, right? Steve, you don't say something like that unless you're talking about something specific, whether it's the head coach, whether it's a player on the team, whatever it is. So Paul George says that for a reason. And then this happened last week. So, and I actually had it to play and we ran out of time or whatever. So James, I don't even know.
This is asinine to me. This makes no sense to me.
So just pay attention. James Harden dishes the ball to Kawhi Leonard baseline, who puts up a 3, but James Harden runs over and defends the shot. And so then it's Tyronn Lue answering a question about it, and then it's Harden trying to explain it. It's all in this one clip. So go ahead and see it. Let's see it. This is last week.
They've outscored the Blazers 21-10 here in the third. Harden accelerates. Kawhi catch and shoot 3.
So look at Kawhi right there. Kawhi's like, what are you doing? Let's watch it again. What is Harden doing?
Kawhi catch and shoot 3. Rebound back to Harden.
It makes it so much worse that he gets the putback. Or
they actually get the 3.
Yeah. I wish it just was a total empty possession. It would have been so much better.
They are out in front 84-60, an 18-2 run.
So you got guys contesting 3-pointers.
I just saw it. I didn't even see it during the game. Guys, Yeah.
Is Kawhi good? You saw him flexing his hand.
Yeah, he's good.
He's fine.
Yeah.
No problem there. Did you feel like you was making it easier or harder for Kawhi when you contested that three in the corner?
Gotta bring some excitement to the team. You know what I mean? I think this last few weeks has been a fog for us, and I think every team goes through it. So I think just me trying to create a good energy, create a great vibe for this team. And, it would have been better if we had made the shot, but let's give someone to laugh about. You know what I mean? Some excitement for the season.
Oh yeah, go contest the shot. He's trying to bring some excitement to the team.
Did you accomplish your mission?
Yeah, I did.
Like,
God, he's just so joyless.
Like, what is that? That makes zero sense. If that was me, I would punch him in the face.
Kawhi was not.
Like, I'm a goalie. If my player turned around and took a shot on me and caught me off guard and scored on me, I would snap. Like, no. Like, that's the dumbest thing in the world. I don't care about excitement. No, go play.
Doing?
Yeah,
but who does that? Yeah, and
if I'm your coach, how do you not see it and be like, get the out of the game?
Well, it's easy not to see it. Tyronn Lue goes, did you
hear him? Like, what? All of them. Like, get out of here. Out of here with that nonsense.
God, I'm so glad he's not here.
Like, no.
How great is it that he's not here? And by the way, this is a guy that scored 40. Didn't he score 40 points twice in that playoff series?
Yep.
And they still hated him. Oh my God!
Like, they were playing Portland, who's one of the worst teams in the league. If they lost that game,
and that 12 wins,
it's like if that happens, like, come on.
And this is in the aftermath of Paul George talking about there's no identity. So maybe I actually believe that's what he was doing. How much of an idiot he is. They think they're gonna be cracking up and giggling because he went over and he contested his own player's 3-pointer.
What if that's just their thing for the rest of the game? They contest 1-3 they're like throughout every game.
Oh my God!
Oh, you wanted that open look? Never mind.
It is unbelievable, man. The mess that he is. But there you go. That's James Harden. That is James Harden for you.
Yeah. Right. Good riddance.
Yeah, seriously, man. I agree. I saw the first power rankings are out. Are you a power ranking guy, Steve? I know you're a mock draft guy. I'm a big mock draft guy.
So I like power rankings. I don't take them to heart. I read them because I'm intrigued, but it's like half the time I'm just like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, no. But I don't take them seriously, but I like reading them.
I don't get mad at them either. I like to see where the national publications look, where they have where they see the Eagles. So
I like seeing how they overreact or underreact to certain like stretches.
So yeah, week to weeks, I pay attention less week to week than I do when something like this where you get an all right, like
the off season.
They classify this as the way too early power rankings. So who would you say is number one in the power rankings there, Delco Steve?
It's got to be the Chiefs.
Chiefs are number one, of course. Number two. Not who you would expect, I'll say that.
It's not the Niners. They lost a lot.
I'll say Niners are 3.
Is it AFC or NFC?
NFC.
It's NFC.
Correct.
Is it Lions?
Detroit Lions at 2.
Wow. I'm actually surprised by it because they didn't do anything. They got some linemen like fortification.
You know what they did? And
they got some.
It says it in the post, and it's actually a great point. They kept both their coordinators. You know what I mean? Normally after you have a successful season like that where everybody's paying it, Ben Johnson came back, Aaron Glenn came back, so they don't lose their coordinators, which is big.
Especially for that's Ben Johnson, right?
Yes.
And it's like
for Goff.
They talk about his development for Goff and his mindset and the way he calls a game, that way they fit together, and it's been exponential to make him a better quarterback.
Look at last year, because Dan Campbell is more of a Nick Sirianni than a Sean McVay, obviously, right? So he's not an offensive genius. It's not his offense. It's Ben Johnson's offense. Same thing here. So he leaves, you pick the wrong coordinator to bring in, he's shitty, then your quarterback sucks. So 49ers 3. Who's 4?
Ravens.
Correct. 5. AFC team.
Bills.
Correct. 6. AFC team.
It's not going to be it can't be the Jets.
No.
Browns.
Dolphins. Good guess.
Ooh.
Dolphins. Next, NFC team.
Eagles.
Correct. 7. All right, so let's break it down. So they are the 3rd team in the NFC.
I'm surprised it's not the Packers.
Head of the Cowboys. So here's after the Eagles. 8, and this is, man, they're really like this is surprising to me, but I know why I can see why they're doing it. Houston Texans 8.
Yeah, I mean,
bad division, but
they're gonna have that first place schedule this year.
Great young quarterback, yeah, but 8, man,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying. 8's probably high because they're gonna have that first place schedule this year. They're gonna take more lumps. They could be a better team this year than they were last year and not have as good a record.
And they got Joe Mixon too, which at least will give them some more consistency on the ground. 9 Cowboys, 10 Packers.
Yeah, I don't see how the Cowboys could be in the top 10 right now. They have done literally nothing this offseason so far. They've only signed Kendricks as an outside free agent, and they're
winning 11, 12 games next year.
I don't even know if they're going that high. What did they haven't done anything to make the team better, and they've lost a lot.
Yeah, but they still have. I'm not telling you they're winning the Super Bowl or anything like that. We know how it's going to end, but they beat up on every bad team.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. But if you take away 4 good players and you don't replace them,
yeah, they're still a good team. I mean, honestly, 9 is still within a top 5 team of the conference. 11 Bengals. All right,
I can see them taking a step back. They have lost.
Burrow's got to stay healthy. Yeah, I mean,
the offensive line needs to stay together. T. Higgins is once traded.
Yep. And then the Browns 12. And here's why I think
I would take the Browns over. I would take the Browns over the Bengals. And I'm not just saying that because I had the Super Bowl bet on them, but
here's why I think that there's reasons to not be sure. What's Deshaun Watson going to look like this year?
I'm banking on him being the closer to the Ravens game version of Deshaun Watson.
He was coming on when he
was cooking his last couple of weeks.
He was, but still now he's going to start all over, and that is not. Cleveland's a tough town to play in, man. The football town. I mean, people are like, yeah, they're like just like they gave him a guaranteed contract, $240 million, and like now you're in year 3 of it, and it's like, all right, we had Joe Flacco saved the season last year. Steelers 13. Rams 14. It's almost like middle of the pack, man. I don't know. They look better than that last year.
I think the Rams are better than that. I would put the Rams and Packers ahead of the Cowboys right now.
Nah, see, I wouldn't. I mean, you can argue the Packers, but I think you're underselling how good the Cowboys are, at least as a regular season team.
No, I think they're a great regular season team, but I'm just saying if you don't all right, they had good depth last year. But now your depth is your starter, and they haven't supplemented any of it. There's articles written about how they've only made one off-season move so far, and that's kind of like asinine to me that you're that team and everyone's looking for you to do something, and you have one move, and it was stealing someone from the Niners.
Did you see Jerry from the owners' meeting?
Yeah, we're good. We have Dak.
Well, his notepad that he had when he was talking to the press there's just scribbles all over it, like it was my 2-year-old. The scribbling all over
doodles.
it. There wasn't even words. Yeah, it was doodles. It was doodling. Your Jets are 18 there, Delco Steve.
I'm surprised that's low. I'm surprised they're that low.
A little bit.
It's not that I'm saying they couldn't end up there. I'm surprised that they're not getting more credit.
Yeah, they get overvalued because of Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Sure, I agree with you. I think they're a little bit low. All right, last is the Panthers. And then the Patriots are 31. There you go.
Dude, Dave Temper, he's an issue.
The Panthers are going to be bad for a while because they just missed on a quarterback. Do we believe that?
I don't know if we could say like they missed already because Canales did a hell of a job with Baker last year. So Canales can kind of bring out the best of Bryce Young. And they've made some moves for some weapons. They got Deontay Johnson. So
not fair to say it as of yet.
Correct.
And if you look at Tua, the year that Tua kind of started flashing was the year that everybody was like, this is do or die. This is a year for Tua. So this isn't a do or die season for Bryce Young. But as far as people, because now the focus is going to be on him. He looked too small. He didn't look fast enough. He didn't look like he had a good, like his arm's fine, but like, what are we talking about here? He looked like a college quarterback last year. He's the first pick in the draft. And then unfortunately for him, and this happened with Tua as well. Do you remember the playoff game? Or wasn't even a playoff game? I think it was a game to get in the playoffs. The Bills already clinched and they couldn't do anything with it. And Miami needed it to get into the playoffs. And it was in Buffalo and it was cold. And Tua looked like he had a C- arm. Especially in
this was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, they came out hot and they choked down the stretch and missed the playoffs completely.
Josh Allen, his arm is going like he's throwing a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Tua's throwing an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. And the Dolphins sucked. They sucked and he looked terrible. This was 3 seasons. This is the end 3 seasons ago, I think. No? Because it wasn't the year he got hurt.
It was McDaniel's first year, I'm pretty sure. Oh, I'm pretty sure. What? Maybe what?
I don't think it wasn't last. Regardless, so even I watched that game and I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, this isn't fair to compare him to Josh Allen in Buffalo. Like, this is the worst case scenario because it's like you're comparing the two quarterbacks. So when you look at CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, it's like, wow, CJ Stroud literally has everything you're looking for. Everything. Size, arm, leadership, or whatever. Bryce Young looks like a college quarterback. He just does. So, so like you're right. It's probably not fair. And I still think he's a starting quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he's a Zach Wilson or a bust or anything like that. He'll figure stuff out. I just don't think he has the tangible skills to make a difference. CJ Stroud does. CJ Stroud is a star. This guy can make every throw in the field.
2021 was the year. So they went 9-8 back-to-back years. But
to your point, they fell apart at the end of the season. They were crazy.
But it got cold.
Playoffs. It got cold.
Miami gets shafted. Like I always find that division fascinating with that, like where the North teams always play in Miami when it's 100 degrees, and Miami always plays up there when it's freezing. It's like, how can they just flip them around a little bit? Like, make everybody happy.
Nope. So that I'll be curious to see. I really will. How that ends up out. What else do we have here? And one more thing that I wanted to talk about here. I don't even know where it is. Well, it's almost the end of the night as well. What now was there after the race on Sunday? Were you out? So what's after the race is all over? And actually I got emailed the results to the 5K, and there's the winner was actually a female that won it this year.
Oh, really? I missed that. I was out cleaning up when they were doing the award stuff, so I missed it.
I got the email. Did I save? I'm pretty sure I saved it here. Yeah, 5K results. Yeah, so she was a college runner because I was actually, hold on a second. Like, who is this chick or whatever? Yeah, because she ran it in 17 minutes and 39 seconds. It was 2.5 minutes faster than number 2.
The 1 year someone ran it in like 14 minutes. It was disgusting. I was on the way out part of the course, and I looked down the one side street and I saw someone coming back, and I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, I'm dying over here in mile 1 and they're already like on the home stretch.
Well, because they run.
Yeah.
Well, that's how that's why I wouldn't. Next year I'm going to have to actually run it just so I can say.
You don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm hurting so bad today.
Yeah, but so you did run it?
I ended up sucking up and running it. Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't even know because I didn't think there was a chance in hell. Yeah, running it based on what
I talked to you. I talked to you in the beginning, and I was trying to talk myself out of running because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be cold. I'm not gonna do it. And then like I said, it got warmer, and I was like, everyone's like, oh, come on, just do it. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it. So I didn't get any stretching in, didn't drink enough water, nothing. I just, ran it. What do you think I did it in?
You rolled out of bed, took a drag off a cigarette, and
pretty much
right in there.
How fast do you think I did it in?
See, I didn't think you went because I didn't see your name on it. I guess you did. Oh no, there you go. You are on it. You placed 16th.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah. And I feel like that.
24 minutes and 35 seconds. That's not bad.
I was definitely faster than that. That's not
what it says.
I got gypped.
That was good for 16th.
I came across right at 24, like on the ticker that was on the thing. So I don't know what it actually was, but
now, have you ever eaten a hoagie with you putting the hoagie on top of the Wawa trash can where you unroll it so the paper's on top of the trash can?
Yeah, no, I see those people all the time. I'm just like, no, I can't. Like, I'll go to my hood of my car and do it.
I love what I see.
No, my food can't be touching a trash can. No.
Now,
even if there's a wrapper in the way.
Yeah. Now, were you wearing jorts?
No, I went with long pants. I hate running in pants. Can't stand it. It was too cold for shorts, but
it was cold. Now with the sun out, it was like you could tolerate it, but it was it was cold. It's tough in March, man. It's like I said to my daughter, it was 70 degrees like on back-to-back days, and I'm like, and
I was in shorts last week. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, and I'm like, honey, you know that it's not going to stay like this. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, it's not going to be 70 again until it's not like I looked on the 10-day forecast. It's not going to be 70 degrees in the next 10 days. It's not going to be 60 degrees in the next 10 days.
Nope.
Sucks. So,
but for considering some of the years of bad weather we have had, that was a better one. I'm not going to complain whatsoever.
Yeah, man, it was a great turnout. So, all right, so next year, because I haven't ran in, I don't know, 40 years, 30 years. I'm not that old. I haven't ran since middle school. If I go to the gym, there's a 0% chance I'm getting on an elliptical or anything like that. I'll take a HIIT class, and I can do that, but there's no way I just get too bored. I'll get on the.
Oh, running is so boring. So
oh my God. I'll be like, all right, I'll cover it up with my towel. And I'll be like, I'm not going to look. And I look, and it's been 2.5 minutes.
I joke about that all the time at the gym, like where you do planks or something. And it's like, all right, I'm not going to look at the clock. And then you pick your head up and look, and it's a minute. I'm like, if I was having sex right now, it would have felt like it was 10 minutes and it was only a minute. And it's like, oh my God, this is so pathetic. If I'm doing something I enjoy, there's no way it goes by this slow.
Well, we'll be back tomorrow. There was actually there's a number of non-sports stories that happened that I wanted.
What happened to P. Diddy?
Yeah, so what did happen with P. Diddy?
I started his house was getting like raided by Homeland Security or something, and his plane left the country.
So was it already in the air, or did the Homeland Security come and they just left the country?
All these updates are like from this afternoon, so I didn't get I meant to go through it while you were doing the opening.
17 minutes ago. No, I have heard now from multiple. So this is just some dude. So I don't know who this is. Let me see who this dude is.
Like at 1:45 in the afternoon, his whole area around his house was shut down. There's the helicopters above.
So this guy has 722,000 followers on Twitter. He says that I'm told that Diddy was not on his private jet, which has been tracked to the Caribbean by multiple outlets. I've heard now from multiple sources Diddy was detained in Miami. Detained does not mean arrested and charged. I know other news organizations are trying to chase this down as well, but it is simply not worth stating this as fact until it's confirmed. So if he
gets if he gets the cut, I'm gonna be really mad because I'd use his clone.
Oh, you do?
That'd be the first person that actually affects my life.
Well, here's what you do. I wouldn't even wait. I would just go wherever you purchase that, and I would order a lifetime supply.
That's probably a good idea because it does last me forever.
It does. So you're a cologne guy?
Yeah, but like not over the top, but like just a little spritz.
A spritz. You know? Where you spritz it underneath the neck?
Yeah, like right here. You know, right there. Right in that area. I got my scent. You know.
Oh man! All right. Well, listen. We'll
Unforgivable by P. Diddy. It smells great though.
So a lot of people on here are saying that sex trafficking is prostitution ring, whatever. I don't. You know, I'm sure we'll find out more as the days go by.
Yeah, we'll have that locked and loaded for tomorrow.
Now, do you also wear Axe spray, Axe body spray?
The last time I bought Axe was when I was trying to cover up smoking cigarettes in high school. Because, that wasn't a giveaway whatsoever.
Right.
The Axe spray underneath the seat of my truck.
I have to agree with If Bayless. Only Delco Steve would wear PD.
Well, I got it as a gift in freshman year of college, and it smells delicious. And I can't tell you how many people actually recognize it as like something I wear.
I don't even know
if they smell it somewhere else.
I don't know the scent.
Oh, it smells great.
High school for me was CK1, and then not even see. You don't remember this, but it's some of the people my age out there remember when there used to have the Drakkar and all these scents, and I'm talking about early 90s. Then you would have knockoff cologne where you would get like in parking lots at the mall or like you go to the video store, anywhere. You would get these, they look like crackheads would run up to you and be like, "Oh, I got your car, $5." And it's like, "Oh, that's not really your car. It's fake your car."
Yeah, there's no way you have your car.
Yep. No way. No, so like I never bought it, but that's what I always think about with cologne during that time was that you used to have the hacks that would run up to you in the parking lot and try to sell it to you. But anyway. All right. Well, Delco Steve will be back tomorrow night. And remember, subscribe, like, comment, follow. Did I get them all?
Yep. One day you'll get all 4 right off the bat.
All right. And if you want to see Steve tweet, don't go to his Twitter page, Gallo3310. Although he may tweet, I don't know. You never know.
Maybe we'll get some ramp up for the draft. We'll do some draft.
All right. Yeah, I need a mock draft. I need a 7-round Eagle mock draft coming up here.
Yeah, 7 Eagle mock draft.
All right. Everybody have a good night. And remember, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. We will talk to you tomorrow at